Within every manager, when we take up new staff, we will have to go through a formal induction process. We have online induction menu, and we have staff can have face-to-face induction, but also can be supplemented by online. Our induction process become quite extensive. Okay, so the induction process we have got in our program, in addition to the meeting the institute's induction process guidelines, policy, procedures, we develop some additional induction checklists. If someone has got all the qualifications for WELL and is suitable for WELL programs, then of course the induction is really to understand the roles and responsibilities of a trainer within a workplace environment, particularly the OHS compliance requirements, because we have to do the OHS induction here, but I will never place a new WELL practitioner in a program on his or her own. So she will always, or he or she will always be mentored by an experienced coordinator. So they can team teach, they can do a bigger part of the program by the experienced person, by a smaller component of the program by a new WELL practitioner. So whoever the coordinator that will be taking up this new WELL practitioner, who will also have a role to play in induction. So it's about the roles and responsibility in the workplace, and about on the educational side is understanding the industry need, where this WELL program arise, what is the different components of the WELL program, how does that component that the new WELL practitioner is doing fit into the bigger picture.
I think you need common sense, excellent communication skills, capacity to just think on your feet, an investigative approach in terms of what's being used in the workplace, what's around you. Yeah, there's a range, there's a litany of things. You need to be able to change your cloak because you might work in a safety science company, then go to aged care and then stagger into Rio Tinto, and you really need a broad understanding of industry, but then also a very specific understanding of that particular workplace. And I don't know how an induction could actually cover all of that. I'd like to see an aspect of mentoring where a new practitioner shadows an existing WELL practitioner for a while, even for a couple of weeks, and that's built into the funding application. Just to get a sense of, look, I've never gone into a factory until I started working in the WELL program. I've always been in a classroom. Just to get a sense of completely different environments, the range of employees you touch in a day, your responsibilities at work, observing your relationships to all staff, from management down. I think that's really important. And then to be able to look at a meaningful and realistic assessment model, because that comes into play as well. But I do think on-the-job practical initial induction that involves a couple of weeks with a WELL practitioner would make a huge difference.
Given that the way in which you've described the support and the transfer of skills and the like, I'm wondering what you feel would be an appropriate way to induct a teacher into WELL delivery.
I think that probably one of the greatest things is to buddy someone up with an experienced teacher. And that has to be a genuine buddying rather than lip service. One of the things I've found in WELL is that no matter how much information you get about what to do and how to do it and things like that, there's always something else that comes up. I mean, in WELL projects, there are so many different, I don't know if pressures or tensions are the right word, but so many pulls in a way. You have the individual learner's need who has their job to do. You have expectations of the management. You also have expectations of the institution you work for as to how you deliver and things like that. So you've really got to match all of them in a certain way. That mix can be very different depending on the organisation you're with or the industry that you're actually delivering in.
How can you teach a new teacher to handle the stress of multiple clients in a WELL program?
I think one of the main things is you need to have an ongoing dialogue with them. One of the most important things is that when they first go into the workplace, that they know what they're going to do within, say, the first 3 or 4 days of the project. And to actually have that dialogue with them before they go, I always ask them to come up with what they want to do, and then I'll maybe play devil's advocate or run through it with them, show them some of the pitfalls of an approach. No approach is perfect, so they often come up with great ideas, and I steal them occasionally. There always is a thing that nothing is ever perfectly going to go to plan, but also having that conversation with them about the fact that if everything doesn't work out properly on the first day, don't worry about it.
We will fly out with our teachers or travel out to the sites with our teachers for the first 2 or 3 trips and really help them through that first time. It's really that first year of delivery. We will be working really closely with them, and they will have set up a consultative group in their work site or in their community, and we will be travelling out to those meetings and just playing a very close mentoring. So the induction gives them some sense of idea of what they might be exposed to when they go out to do that work, and then they've got the site induction. But it doesn't mean anything until they're actually out there doing the work, and then that the information provided in those inductions starts to make sense to them because they've got a context for learning.
I really think, from my experience, when I was moving into world programs, it made sense for me to actually work with a more experienced world teacher, and I think that's a teacher that's had experience with world programs, because I do think that teaching language literacy and numeracy in the classroom is very different to teaching the programs in a workplace. I think there's you have to work to the application, you have to the funding application. So it is good to have someone to discuss. There's lots of creative solutions you have to come up with as well, and other teachers can give you ideas of experiences of what their experiences have been in different workplaces, and maybe some different strategies you could use. Maybe attending steering committee meetings and just sitting in is a good idea as well, just to listen to some of the initial meetings that are taking place.